Hi, everybody. I'm Tom. I'm on the board, so that's why I get to introduce Shira and David. And before I introduce them, I want to remind you about some of the programs at the library, but can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
First of all, it seems really silly that I feel like anybody here could introduce them. I mean, it's really nice to see so many familiar faces, so that's really great. But the library has wonderful programs that you probably all know about, but I want to remind you to attend them and come. This weekend, we have the Finish Line book sale on Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 3. And then tomorrow, there's the Halloween cookie party for any of you who want to decorate Halloween cookies, or maybe you just want to come and help. That would be very welcome. And support our library in any way you can. Now, I thought I was so clever that I put this little talk on the phone, but now my phone is like, sideways and stuff. And it was dying well before too. So Shira and David are good friends of mine and yours for many, many years. So I don't have to say much about that. But I'm just very impressed by the things that they do. David with his photography, his music, his natural resources work, and Shira with her artwork and her teaching. And I feel like they bring that into their lives and then into the world. And I think that's what you're going to be fortunate to be able to see today. So I think we're all in for a treat. So welcome.
Thank you to the Southwest Harbor Library for having us here tonight. Thank you, Tom, for that very sweet introduction. And thank you to all of you who are here with us tonight in person or on Zoom. We're going to share some of our experiences from being in India, where I was a Fulbright-Nehru Scholar from October 2024 until March 2025. I was extremely fortunate to receive this fellowship to study India's ancient textile traditions of natural dyeing and explore how traditional practices have been evolving in response to environmental and societal changes. The supporting organizations were the U.S. Fulbright Program, USIEF, which is the U.S. India Educational Foundation, and National Institute of Design, which was my host organization there. This was our second extended stay in India, as we had spent 6 months there in 2013-14 when David had a Fulbright Fellowship. During that time, we went on a week-long textile tour in the state of Gujarat, visiting artists engaged in traditional textile crafts, and my fascination with natural dyeing was born. I have been applying color and pattern to cloth for over 35 years, utilizing a wide variety of fabric design techniques and methods. I was deeply inspired by what I had seen in India in 2014. So about 8 years ago, I began to move away from working with synthetic dyes and begin making my own dyes from plants that I foraged, flowers in our area, as well as plants that David had planted for me in our garden, dye plants. I decided to apply for a Fulbright Fellowship to India under the category of a professional project in the arts so that I could more deeply learn about their extraordinarily rich textile traditions that have continued for millennia. The U.S. Fulbright program has been in existence for nearly 80 years, and it was established with the goals of fostering cross-cultural exchange and mutual understanding between people of the U.S. and people of other countries. It provides an opportunity for students, professionals, and researchers to study, learn, and teach in other parts of the world, and it welcomes counterparts from other countries to our educational institutions. So we were based in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Ahmedabad is a city of about 9 million people, India. From the mid-1800s to the late 1980s, it earned the nickname the Manchester of the East. Ahmedabad is also renowned for being the place that Gandhi chose to establish the Sabarmati Ashram when he returned to India from South Africa in 1915. The ashram became the center for India's independence movement, and today it is an important heritage site that welcomes people from all over the world, including within India. During my fellowship, I was affiliated with the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, one of India's premier design universities. Dr. Gayatri Menon as my faculty mentor, and she, her husband and son, graciously welcomed us into their family. Although I didn't have a pre-scheduled program for my research project, I knew that there were specific artists that I wanted to meet with, and particular textile traditions that I wanted to experience and learn about. One of these textile arts is called Matini Pacheri, and it literally means behind the mother goddess. These sacred fabric Ahmedabad. This is Mahesh Chitara. He's a 12th generation Matini Pacheri painter who invited us to his home to see his work and to explain the process to us. His house is nestled in a densely packed enclave of homes, all inhabited by relatives who continue to be engaged in the practice of making this traditional art form. Matini Pacheri are ritual fabric paintings which feature the image of a Hindu mother goddess who is surrounded by supporting deities and accompanied by her companion animal. This tradition of devotional imagery in cloth began about 400 years ago. It was started by the nomadic Vagari tribes who lived along the banks of the Sabarmati River in Ahmedabad. They were a marginalized group, and therefore individuals were denied entrance to the temples for prayer. So in order to be able to perform their prayers and rituals, the Vagaris created their own portable shrines by painting figures of their deities on fabric, thus enabling them to construct temporary altars for worship that could be put up and taken down as necessary. Although they are still used for sacred purposes, Matini Pacheri are now sold in fine craft editions. Mahesh's wife, Rekha, also paints these fabric cloths, and hers are particularly creative and colorful. The children also are learning to follow in this tradition, and they often help out with different aspects of the painting, like painting in the background if it's something very solid. This is a more traditionally colored piece, which originally featured just the black, red on white. Historically, completed paintings were washed out in the nearby Sabarmati River, where the flowing water easily washed off all the excess dyes and got rid of any of the additives. Now that's no longer possible because the river is too polluted from the textile industry, so people try to simulate the flowing water in their homes. We're now going to see a video of the process where Mahesh explains. He's getting the fabric ready. It's been pre-dyed with a tannin called Maravellan. And he uses like a toothpick, well, or a long stick to draw. And he just kind of draws from his head. He's done this so often. They're the kids. And he's just doing a sample piece for us, showing how it's done. We went back to his home 3 or 4 times so he could show the whole process to us. What's this dye? This is
flour on the fill up on the boiling process, Eric. This tamarind powder.
The black is from fermented iron, scrap iron that's fermented with sugar to create iron.
Did you still see some of the?
This one is the alum from red.
Yeah.
This one the maroon up in the red and black.
Yeah.
This black is more darkness.
They just do it all in their kitchen. They just do a little awning outside. And that's my research was study with skilled artisans so that I could experience and familiarize myself with multiple aspects of natural dyeing. Early last December, I spent an intensive 6 days at the Wabi Sabi project in Bagru, which is a town outside of Jaipur in Rajasthan. Guided by the expertise of founders Kriti and Avinash, and with help from the Wabi Sabi studio team, I was able to immerse myself in learning about the traditional art of block printing on fabric with a mud paste resist, which is what I'm doing here. It's called dabu printing, and it's widely practiced in the village of Bagru. The mud paste is made from clay that's sourced from a local pond. It's gathered and then it's dried in big clumps or balls until it's kneaded. We saw lots of it outside people's homes. It's then pulverized by hand or machine and mixed with water, gum, Arabic, and waste wheat chaff until it's sort of a smooth consistency, not too runny, but fluid enough. And the following video shows Shivraji, part of the Wabi Sabi team, mixing the mud.
गाड़ी में रख दीजिए
I think it's oil. Oil?
No, no, no.
No,
Water.
water. Oh, okay. A lighter touch.
No pressure. Okay, okay.
No, sorry. A mud block print that I did. Actually, I have this cloth here up front if anybody wants to look at it. It's so it's been dyed once with indigo, and then areas are blocked out that will be sawdust after it's printed, and that helps absorb the moisture as well as I think keep the edges more defined on the print. Here are the cloths outside drying. The sun is really an important aspect. I mean, we don't have that kind of sun here, and the sun really helps set the dyes, cure it. They'll leave things out for several days. And then this is the finished piece. I have it here. It was drying on the line. Okay. I wanted to experiment with a variety of different dyes. So I block printed a 5-meter length of cloth using wood blocks from the studio collection. The color black is typically printed first and is done as an outlining block. So this black outline here, right? 5 meters of that. I then experimented with making different color combinations by printing certain areas of the design over with the mud, and these are ready to be then dyed with different colors. The dyes we used were iron acetate for the black that had been scrap iron fermented with the jaggery and the water. The bright yellows came from a mixture of pomegranate rind and turmeric. All of these were in powdered form. I mean, not the liquid iron acetate, but the rest of them were. We got the bright golds from that. Madder root was used for reds, iron or ferrous sulfate for the grays, and indigo for the blue. The green, those are over dye, so that's indigo, and then indigo could be over dyed on different areas. This is the Wabi Sabi team. While I was working, the team was working on block printing cloth for orders for clients, but they were very willing to assist me and very helpful in offering guidance. And I'll just mention their names. I mean, they were really great. So from that, and that's Shubhash, who was from a block printing family. His family had their own block printing studio and workshop. Next to him is his uncle, Shivraji, who comes from a dyeing family. There I am. This is Kamlesh, who was the studio assistant and really did the bulk of the work that nobody else was doing. And Avinash, he and his wife are the founders and designers. They started this project. I mean, they call it a project because their studio and workshop. So early one morning, we met Avinash in the town of Bagru for a walk through the village, where many families continue to practice the tradition of Dabu mud block resist printing using the local clay. For dyeing the cloth, they're generally using synthetic dyes, which are more affordable and allow them to produce a more affordable product to sell. So in this photo, they're laying out the fabrics to dry. You can still, so indigo oxidizes, color changes when it hits the air. You can still see it looking almost a little turquoisey green there before it turns to the darker blue. And then these are the fabrics drying. The mud has been washed out of these, but all of those prints were done by the mud resist. And then here's a video of one of the village dyers.
Oh, wow.
Yes, this is that big vat.
Yeah.
It's almost 3 meters deep.
Oh my gosh.
He has 2 vats. He's using on this one. See, this is Shira. This is how they're introducing the height. The froth that you see on the
Yeah.
this thing is because
Yeah.
it had the reduction has been quickened.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They're pretty quick dips too.
Yeah.
I mean, not even a minute or two. Wow.
I mean, these crackers is something like I'm also amazed. I mean, they are not worried about certain portions of it.
Often do that.
Goodness.
For anyone wishing to learn about textile traditions in India, no journey would be complete without a visit to the Kutch region of Western Gujarat, where many traditional received a lot of global attention and recognition. Block printing, it's an ancient form of block printing on cloth that is characterized by intricate geometric designs. Historically, adrak was printed on both sides of the cloth, a feat which requires really exceptional skill on the part of the printer to get them to match up on both sides of the cloth. Adrak garments were originally worn by indigenous animal herders, and we were told that the reason the fabric was printed on both sides was so that the herders who rose before dawn and got dressed in the dark wouldn't have to worry about which side of the clothing to put on when they were getting dressed. And of course, reversible garments still have great appeal.
How big are the blocks for that printing?
Well, that they can vary, and I don't know what those were. Yeah, they could vary from a block, and that you might see up here that could be 4 inches to something that could be 8 or 10 inches. It's possible. So we visited the workshop of Adrak artists Adam and his father Abdul Jabbar Khatri, and they've been printing and designing Adrak cloths for multiple generations. Adam is the 12th generation Adrak artist, and we actually met him in 2014 as well, when we had gone on that tour. So the father, Abdul Jabbar, prefers to work with geometric patterns, which are more traditional and are keeping with Islamic design motifs, while Adam is more innovative and creative and experimental in his design approach. So Adam showed us numerous pieces of cloth with all different kinds of color combinations, which was really great to see. And then this is our friend Vrushali, who joined us. She lives in the area and has recently started her own design company, so she was happy to meet these artists as well. This is the part of the new water filtration system, which Adam said they recently had to install. Their water source has become very high in iron content, and that adversely affects the dyes, and of course then affects the whole production chain. But this is the scrap iron that's being fermented with the jaggery, probably jaggery more likely than dates, but and water. And it will sit for about 3 weeks or a month. It depends on the time of year. You know, if the weather's hotter, it goes more quickly. And it forms iron acetate, and that's used for the black that you see. The black is usually thickened with, they use tamarind seed powder, but something else could be used for with the printing. And then he's got this little swatch of tannin treated fabric there in the background. And so he'll test some of the liquid on that and to see if it turns black. And if it turns, you know, the right color of black, it's ready to be used. And these are the cloths. Everything just is dried on the ground, which, you know, I always found amazing, but that's how it's done. And you have beautiful, beautiful things. I have incredibly warm memories from our visit in 2014 with Adam, and you know, really enjoyed seeing him again. I had been so captivated by his explanations of natural dyes and showing me the process. And he was so happy to learn that he had been such a source of inspiration for me and wanted me to write about that in the guest book. Another artist that we met with, another well-known Adrak block printer, was Sufyan Khatri, who's a cousin of Adam's. It was their grandfather, Mohammed Sadiq Khatri, who in 1970 revived the family tradition of using natural dyes. Natural dyeing had begun to disappear in the 1970s when, well, actually it began to disappear in the 1950s when synthetic dyes came on the market, which were much less time consuming to use and also a cheaper alternative. So when their grandfather reintroduced it, it really was a whole revitalization of the craft. And Sufyan also showed us swatches. So the next video, we're going to see Sufyan will talk about the process, and he also starts out by explaining, and I'll just say it, that his ancestors migrated to Kutch from Sindh, which is now part of present-day Pakistan. And before the partition of India and Pakistan, artisans, traders, everybody really moved freely back and forth between the areas, which, you know, is no longer possible.
So there is the history about Ajrak in 16th century. The king of Kutch. The king is very they are art lovers. So they invite many people, like they invite embroideries, they invite Rogan, they invite Ajrak artisans, they invite Bandhani artisans. First we carving by the compass, making drilling like holes, extra wood take out, and then first carving and then second carving. Each design have the stories, each designs have the name. Rust iron for black colors. This is my medicine. Myrobalan, it's good for the digest system.
Yeah.
It's good. It's we working like tannin.
Yes.
And arita soap nuts.
Oh, okay.
Madder powder, rhubarb root, and pomegranate skin. So traditionally, down soda ash and castor oil. Side printing, we do same designs on double side. Drained water, and we add with tamarind seed gum, and then printing, and then black color, and indigo dyeing. So you make a good indigo fermentation. There is red cave, brown cave. This is Indian madder, and here I use the logwood, which is from USA. Logwood is the purple dyes actually,
Yeah.
but we use very tiny quantity. People are
Oh my
wearing in
gosh,
our
yeah.
traditional markets.
Very impressive. Okay, so. So yet another style of block printing in Kutch is batik. And yes, so batik involves using wax as the resist to block out certain areas of design, much like the use of the mud in the Dabu block printing. Layers of pattern and color are created by applying successive layers of wax and dye on the cloth. And when the design is finished, the fabric is boiled to remove all the wax. We visited the studio of Nassif and Shakil Khatri, whose family has been printing batik cloth for 6 generations. The cloth, years ago, the cloth was made for the surrounding agricultural communities. Each community had their own design. The block printers printed it, and then they were able to use it as barter for other goods. Before wax was used, the resist was made from the oil from the seed of a pilu tree, which is Salvadora persica, also known as the toothbrush tree. And the oil was combined with other thickening ingredients. The challenge in using the pilu oil was that they had to use it before dawn in the cool of the day. Otherwise, the designs would all melt and come out of it. So now they use paraffin wax, and they're able to reclaim 70% of the wax for reuse. So in this video, Nassif will tell us about the process. Whoops.
And then we dye in the steel gray. Color,
Yeah.
right, and printed on steel gray, this flower only. So this will be resisted.
Yes.
And then we dye in black, pure wax from the refined. Other uncle was familiar with block making, so he made this block, many blocks. This made by him. It require passion and patience also.
Yeah.
Both.
Yes, passion and patience.
So each design is for a special community.
Yeah. So one color for this, yeah.
Okay, so when that clip just ended, he was pointing out the naturally dyed fabrics, which he keeps behind a cupboard and only brings it out for people who can appreciate them or are interested. He said that when he used to have the naturally dyed fabrics displayed, people would come in and say, "Why all the sad colors? Did somebody die?" Because they're, so much more muted. So that was interesting. Okay, next. The weavers of the Jodi. So this community of, excuse me, oops. This community of weavers migrated to Kutch from Rajasthan about 500 years ago, and they formed a close relationship with the nomadic Rabari tribes. Relied upon the Rabaris for the raw materials, and the Rabaris relied upon the weavers for cloaks and shawls to protect them against the extremes of the summer and winter weather. The two communities continue to and are known for their distinctive embroidery and intricate needlework, and a lot of the garments from the weavers might have details done by the Rabari women artisans. We visited the weaving family of Vankar Vashram Baji, also in 2014. And their thriving business has continued to grow, providing work for more than 70 families in their region. This is Dinesh, who along with his brothers run the family weaving business. He's standing with his daughter in this tranquil space that has more recently become referred to as the Indigo Temple. When we first met, and when we first met him 11 years ago, he was the sole family member entrusted with the responsibility of maintaining the health of the indigo vats, which have grown in number from 3 back then to 11 today. I vividly remember Dinesh performing a taste test to see, assess the potency of the indigo vat. He stuck his finger in the indigo dye, popped it in his mouth, and then thoughtfully assessed, did it need more alkalinity from adding lime powder? Did it need more sugar from dates or jaggery? And I have seen this thing happen time after time with other indigo dyers, and also with other dyes where people would just do a taste test to see how it was, and it never failed to surprise me. The care for maintaining the vats is now in the hands of his nephew, Ashok, who is a wild experimenter and has a really active presence on Instagram and following as well. We joined Dinesh as he assisted with the process of preparing the warp threads before they go on the loom. The warp threads formed with a rice paste starch that will give them more body during the weaving. The rice paste is later washed out.
Yes, they will. આ પહેલા warp કરી નાખ્યું છે અને stretch કરી દાદા then these guys and then Ashok bhai.
And hardy in the weather, and this brush is made from the roots of a tree that grows on the border of the Rajasthan border. They didn't know the name of it. But yeah, so it's called Kala cotton, and it's
I'm doing a time lapse, so that's why he's adding all this extra weft.
Oh, okay.
From
Okay.
like counting, lifting,
Yeah.
manually lifting,
Yeah,
and then putting it in, manually lifting.
Yeah.
But it's all counting. So in other words, this is a longer one, and then he needs to know that this exactly needs to go here, here, here. How intricate this is.
સેકન્ડ સીટો બોલે ફર્સ્ટ સીટો કરેલો કાગળ
હા હા એ તો એના વગર નહીં આવે આગળ પણ એવું કહું છું કે તોય એમને પણ કેચઅપ કેટલું સરસ પકડી લીધું ને He's only 20. Oh my god.
So this intricate weaving that Vaishali was marveling over is called dabla, which is a form of extra weft weaving. And the weft are the threads that go right to left across the loom. In 1974, Dinesh's father received India's National Craftsman Award for his dabla shawl, which revived this complex form of traditional weaving. As a result of their work, and their weaving continues to be highly regarded and sought after today. And this is just a before and after, not really. This is 2014 when we visited. I mean, we visited the family who's also, and then David took another picture of me. Being hung. And David's going to present a little bit about our daily life in India. And I just want to thank him for all his projects.
Well, thank you for being here again, Shira. Great job. We had a wonderful experience, and in addition to learning a lot about textiles and meeting some amazing artists, we were like residents living in Ahmedabad, a city of 9 million, and we befriended many Indians. There were actually very few tourists in Ahmedabad. People would come and then leave because there wasn't a lot that tourists got to experience the city as residents. It's like we're residents here. We know about all the unique things that we can do that most visitors tourists generally don't know about. And while Shira was at the university, I wandered the city with my camera and got to experience some amazing sights. So I thought I would just show 6 videos that are maybe a minute to a minute and a half each to give you a little bit of flavor of some of the unusual daily life kinds of things that you would run into in the city. And, you know, I had, before we went to India the very first time, kind of mixed expectations about what India is like. You know, it's an exotic place, colorful, many people, polluted. You know, we had all these kind of ideas, and some of them came true and others didn't. But I think some of these videos will give you a sense of some of the amazing things taking place on a daily basis that we were lucky enough to experience. Or actually, most of the time, it was just me personally experiencing, or Shira's at the university. The first slide I'm going to show, I got to get my glasses to see where the arrows are. Excuse me. This one. So this again is Ahmedabad. This is I could take a picture of him. He moved over to this mural, and I didn't even ask him to pose. He just went there naturally. And it's one of my favorite great memories from our trip. So about 5 days after we arrived in India, in Ahmedabad, and in the apartment that we were living in, we were kind of exploring the area near where we lived, and we came across this beautiful park. It's kind of an oasis. It reminded me of Central Park in New York. Nothing on that scale and size, but it was just this oasis in this massive urbanization. Beautiful grounds, a couple lakes, lots of birds. And we came across this group of people who were congregating and doing some strange movements. And we went up to them afterwards and to just find out what they were doing. And they immediately invited us in to be part of the Parimal Breathing Club. And it's a group of seniors, all retired, who get together every morning at 7:15, something like that, for about an hour and go through a series of exercises. And this is what we did almost every morning that we were in Ahmedabad. So I'll show you what this is like. When there was a birthday, they did this celebration. My birthday was in November, and we went through this whole thing with me instead of the gentleman there. And then people in the audience or in the group who know the individual start commenting and making great remarks about them and wishing them birthdays. And again, when it was my turn to have my birthday celebrated, getting up and making comments, and it was very, very generous and made us feel so welcome. But anyway, that's what we did every morning. Next, one of the things that I did frequently was send videos that I made back to our father, one of the very early videos about what I see in the streets, and I thought he would really enjoy this. So I'll just show you this. Ari, how are you? I am in Ahmedabad, India now, in the middle of downtown, and I wanted to show you what it looks like. There is a lot of traffic, cars, people, but look what else I see. Right downtown, monkeys. Look at them, right there. Can you believe that? This is the backyard of our apartment complex. Look at that guy right on the motorcycle. And this guy wants his own motorcycle. Monkeys here, people walking. This guy trying to come out with his motorcycle. And this guy right here. Observation as I was walking the streets, there were groups of langurs in the city, and I, as my academic training was in wildlife biology, I was just totally fascinated by this. And in fact, one of the faculty members at the university that I became friends with, who teaches in the wildlife department, just sent me a note saying that the state of Gujarat has just issued a request for proposals for someone to study langurs in downtown Ahmedabad. I would have enjoyed doing that. Another common that we're all probably very familiar with is the tradition of drinking chai in India. And on every street corner, almost, there was somebody making chai out in the open. And it was very, very common for people to drink tea, particularly during the day at 11 a.m. and at 4 p.m. Seemed like people would come out of their offices or wherever they're working, whatever they're doing, and stop to get chai. And it ended up about halfway through our trip that we came across the chai maker that I'm about to show you, who we believe was the best chai maker that we experienced in town. Not only in taste, but in his method of making chai. So I'll show that to you right now. Okay. Hey, Ari, how are you? And it was indeed the best tea. We went back many times. And what did it cost? It was like 20 rupees, maybe, right? 10, 20 rupees, which is very
25 cents.
25 cents, very inexpensive. One of the strangest things that I came across was in this next video. I was wandering through the city photographing, and I actually came across this young girl and her family maybe 2 or 3 times in different places. And I'll just leave it there, and then we'll I'll explain a little bit in a minute and tell you more about it. But this was. mostly what they were doing was begging for money with their little performance. And they had that loudspeaker set up playing with, I guess, traditional music. And it was just so amazing to see something like that going on right next to that very busy street. Anyway, that was a remarkable opportunity to see that. Next, this is a very short video of a different kind of art than Shira experienced. We happened to be at a restaurant one night, and it was a restaurant that served a traditional meal and then had like a little museum there and artists doing their work. This is, I call this nail art, and you'll see why in just a minute.
This is my master demo.
Oh my goodness.
An elephant. And then color. So same things. Denim cloth. Put in color. Oil mixed dry powder color. And like this.
He gave that to us, and we did buy some other things. Anyway, it's this little studio there. You know, as people come to eat. That was unusual. We've never seen anything. Never saw anything like that anywhere else. And then this last video, during the day, it's a busy street, kind of a main thoroughfare. But at night, it really transforms into something like a night market. There are shops where people are selling fabrics. There are restaurants. There's food trucks, and this is what we experienced.
रिटर्न में आएगी तो फोटो ले लेना, रिटर्न में आए तो फोटो ले लेना।
Anyway, thank you so much for coming tonight, and I don't know if there are any questions. So anyway, thank you so much. We had an amazing experience.
We've got a couple of comments. Kate Russell Henry says she just is feeling immersed in the warmth and the color of the air. And Michael Panko says terrific presentation. Thank you so much, Michael and Ellie. No other questions right now. Anybody here with a question?
Thank you for having that vlog while you were gone too. That was amazing to fortunate using some of that. And you don't repeat at all.
And we still available. So if anybody is interested in learning more in detail what we did and many more videos and photographs, come see us afterwards. We'll be happy to share we'll take your email and we'll send you the link to it.
David, how did you communicate with people? Did you know the language or did they speak English?
We did not know I did not know the language. We did not know the language. And most people spoke English. There were times where English was not spoken, and I think generally we had somebody with us who could translate or could talk. But I would say the majority of the time people spoke English. Ahmedabad is a very cosmopolitan city, and certainly walking on the streets, most people spoke English. And I had a camera, and I did a lot of gesturing. If I wanted to take somebody's picture or asked to take a photograph, I would hold up my camera and start doing hand signals. And to be honest with you, I think most people were. At first, I was nervous about doing kind of street photography in Ahmedabad because I didn't know the cultural kinds of constraints and so forth. I didn't want to be rude. But I'd say by and large, almost everybody was, approved me to take their photo and was really actually quite, seemed like they were pleased that a foreigner would want to take their photograph. And so really communication wasn't a real issue. But when we were visiting some of the artists, I think.
Yeah, there were a few artists that we visited. I mean,
Sure.
with Rishali and
I'm up here so people.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry. When we were with our friend Rishali in touch, she was able to translate. Actually, most of the people, they spoke English, but we got a lot more information when she was in conversation with them and learned kind of more backstory sort of thing that they might not just tell anybody who visited. So that was really interesting. And there were other artists that we visited that were not shown tonight. And in those situations, we were with a graduate student from a university, and it made a huge difference. We wouldn't have been able to communicate at all if he hadn't been with us. So, and then even with the first person we saw who did the sacred cloths, I mean, we managed with English, but then one time we were there with somebody who could speak Gujarati. And again, I learned a whole lot more than I would have otherwise. Yeah.
And even when we did speak English, they couldn't understand our accent, and we couldn't understand their accent. So it was a bit of a struggle.
Oh, Carl?
Will you be going back? And if you are going back, would you need someone to come along with you?
Invite you.
So we have a question from Dick Atley. I'm not clear on the function of the sand in the resist process.
Okay, so in the batik, they were block printing with the wax. The tables were covered with sand. It was like a bed of sand. And we were told that the sand was somewhat cooling so that it helped, the wax set as soon as it was printed. And that's what I believe the function of the sand was.
And so it was on top of the sand.
The fabrics were laid down on top of it. The table had this sort of compacted sand. The fabrics were laid on top of it. And then the printing took place on the fabric over the sand. Becky?
Two questions. One is, have you continued your breathing? Did you continue your breathing exercises?
Not enough, no. Okay.
Then the other one is, did you bring back some blocks because you ran into so many examples?
I did bring back some blocks, but I'm working on trying to get my mud consistency right so that I can print with them. And if anybody wants to see, there's some textiles here from each of the artists we visited, as well as a few of the things that I made when I was with the Wabi Sabi project.
Are you using the sugar paste, making the same product to make the sugar element for the iron acetate paste?
Oh, yeah, I have some iron with a jaggery right now, actually at home, but yeah, but it needs to be thickened for printing. And so I'm not quite sure what I would thicken it with yet.
Anybody else? Anyone else? Well, everyone who's registered and people who haven't can just let us know at the front, but we will send an email with the recording of this and a link to your blog as well.
Okay, great.
And whatever links you'd like to share with me, you can send that and I'll add them to that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.